on the program. Let's see here. Coming up in a few minutes, I'll have news headlines for the day, as well as a look at the national weather forecast, along with the President's weekly radio address. And I'll tell you what, we'll do that next after a quick commercial break, okay? Does that sound like a good idea? I thought so. I thought you would agree. Oh, there is one other thing I wanted to talk about before I get to that commercial break. Actually, a couple of things. One of them is a PSA that I'm going to play next. And it's a really good PSA. It's been running for about 3 years. I've seen it on KTVO quite a bit. Anyway, it's actor Matt Damon, and you'll hear it in a moment. But there's something in it that has always bugged me, and that he asked this guy how he was doing in portraying him. And you could tell they were getting along pretty good. But then Matt Damon makes a reference to, I was too stiff. I've got an Academy Award. And I'm thinking, yeah, that's what a guy wants to hear when he's barely making ends meet. You know, when he's struggling just to get by, just to even buy a loaf of bread, and you tell him, oh, I got an Academy Award. Well, that's a little like telling a guy who's got a Dodge Neon and you're driving around in a hot sports car. You know, not that there's anything wrong with my Neon. I love my Neon. It's a great car. But still, you know, I'm drinking water, you're drinking champagne. Okay? That's what I'm getting at. And then another thing, it's an ad that's been running for Swiffer for, I don't know, a couple months or more, in which it has that old couple, Marty, and I can't think of the gal's name now. Keep wanting to say the Kaufmans or something like that. Well, you know, the ones that are fussing over this new Swiffer thing. And what bugs me about it is I think it's the latest ad, at least the one I see the most now, in which they're lamenting about how they're going to clean their house. There's a knock on the door from supposedly a stranger, possibly a neighbor, and there's a box from Swiffer. Okay, it's a nice gesture. But at the start of the ad, the old lady is moving a chair into position, and she has a rickety broom or something trying to clean the top of this curio cabinet. And she can barely stand on this thing. She has no business standing on this damn thing. She starts to climb up, and the husband, rather than tell her to stop, is saying, that's unsafe, babe, or something like that. And I'm thinking, first of all, you're just as bad as the people that are about to give you the damn Swiffer. You know, if they really wanted to help this couple, get them a cleaning service. Or volunteer to clean the house, or find someone to clean the house for them. But don't say, what's a nice thing I could do? Well, I could get them a cleaning service, but I know what? I'll give them this nice Swiffer. That way, I don't have to worry about it. Yeah. A week later, she breaks her hip, can't clean a damn thing. He won't clean. Did the ad agency even think this through? That's what's running through my head. Maybe I'm overanalyzing this 30-second spot, but that's what's running through my head as I'm watching the Swiffer ad. Well, anyway, now I got that off my chest. I feel better. Let's go to a break, and when we come back, we'll have the President's weekly radio address and then find out what's trending. So stick around, won't you?
How you doing? My name's Steve. My family's lived in this neighborhood for years. Recently, things got so tight, we had to go to our local food bank for help. I lost a lot of sleep worrying about what the neighbors might think. That is until I saw them there, too. How'd I do, Steve?
A little stiff. You could have done a little better.
What? Come on. You know, I have an Academy Award.
Yeah, but not for playing me.
It's Hunger Action Month, so click share below to pass along this video and play your role in ending hunger.
It takes 12 years to create a graduate. It takes about the same time to create a dropout. And at the end of the day, the difference between a child becoming one or the other could be you. So United Way is asking you to make a pledge. Tutor a child who needs help. Mentor a kid who needs someone on their side. Volunteer to read to children. Because when a child advances, we all advance. Be a reader, tutor or mentor. Give, advocate, volunteer. Live United. Take the pledge now at liveunited.org. Brought to you by United Way and the Ad Council.
Hi, everybody. It was 5 years ago this week that a financial crisis on Wall Street spread to Main Street and very nearly turned a recession into a depression. In a matter of months, millions of Americans were robbed of their jobs, their homes, their savings, after a decade in which they'd already been working harder and harder just to get by. It was a crisis from which we're still trying to recover. But thanks to the grit and determination of the American people, we're steadily recovering. Over the past 3.5 years, our businesses have created 7.5 million new jobs. Our housing market is healing. We've become less dependent on foreign oil. Healthcare costs are growing at the slowest rate in 50 years. And in just over a week, millions of Americans without healthcare will be able to get covered for less than $100 a month. So our economy is gaining traction, and we're finally tackling threats to middle-class prosperity that Washington neglected for far too long. But as any middle-class family listening right now knows, we've got a long way to go to get to where we need to be. And after 5 years spent digging out of the crisis, the last thing we need is for Washington to manufacture another one. But that's what will happen in the next few weeks if Congress doesn't meet two deadlines. First, the most basic constitutional duty Congress has is passing a budget. But if it doesn't pass one before September 30th, a week from Monday, the government will shut down. And so will many services the American people expect. Military personnel, including those deployed overseas, won't get their paychecks on time. Federal loans for rural communities, small business owners, and new home buyers will be frozen. Critical research into life-saving discoveries in renewable energy will be halted. All of this can be prevented if Congress just passes a budget. Second, Congress must authorize the Treasury to pay America's bills. This is done with a simple, usually routine vote to raise what's called the debt ceiling. Since the 1950s, Congress has always passed it, and every president has signed it, Democrats and Republicans, including President Reagan. And if this Congress doesn't do it within the next few weeks, the United States will default on its obligations and put our entire economy at risk. This is important. Raising the debt ceiling is not the same as approving more spending. It lets us pay for what Congress already spent. It doesn't cost a dime or add a penny to our deficit. In fact, right now our deficits are already falling at the fastest rate since the end of World War II. And by the end of this year, we'll have cut our deficits by more than half since I took office. But reducing our deficits and debt isn't even what the current standoff in Congress seems to be all about. The fact is, Democrats and some reasonable Republicans are willing to raise the debt ceiling and pass a sensible budget, one that cuts spending on what we don't need so we can invest in what we do. And I want to work with those Democrats and Republicans on a better bargain for the middle class. But there's also a faction on the far right of the Republican Party who've convinced their leadership to threaten a government shutdown if they can't shut off the Affordable Care Act. Some are actually willing to plunge America into default if they can't defund the Affordable Care Act. Think about that. They'd actually plunge this country back into recession, all to deny the basic security of health care to millions of Americans. That's not happening. And they know it's not happening. The United States of America is not a deadbeat nation. We are a compassionate nation. We are the world's bedrock investment, and doing anything to threaten that is the height of irresponsibility. That's why I will not negotiate over the full faith and credit of the United States. I will not allow anyone to harm this country's reputation or threaten to inflict economic pain on millions of our own people just to make an ideological point. So, we're running out of time to fix this, but we could fix it tomorrow. Both houses of Congress can take a simple vote to pay our bills on time, then work together to pass a budget on time. Then we can declare an end to governing by crisis and govern responsibly by putting our focus back where it should always be, on creating new jobs, growing our economy, and expanding opportunity not just for ourselves but for future generations. Thanks.
Hello?
Welcome back to Studio 26 on this Monday morning, the 23rd day of September. And what do you say we take a look at what's trending? How about you, Bob? That's good with me, Bob. How's it going, Bob? Hi, Bob. Hi, Bob. That was a joke on the Bob Newhart Show, and that's the theme to the show, by the way, in case you didn't know. Well, let's find out what's trending, okay? So we'll stop that right there and start this up.
Oppan Gangnam Style.
And here are the things you need to know on this Monday, starting off with News Attack. Stephen King says in a new interview that the Twilight series is nothing more than porn for teens. Then he belched, hitched up his pants, and yelled at some kids to skedaddle off his lawn. 18-karat gold earphones that cost $14,500. Why? You're just going to lose them anyway. They're going to be full of earwax. That's disgusting. Well, a Swedish headphone company, Happy Plugs, oh God, has created a pair of earbuds made out of 18-karat solid gold, priced at a whopping $14,500. The lavish accessory for your ears are handmade, with each side molded out of 25 grams of gold. Yeah, I am not going to go exercising with those in my ears. Okay? For one thing, I hate earbuds, and two, why would you have earbuds that cost more than most used cars are worth? Huh? I don't get that. Chances are, though, people that can afford it aren't worried about the price tag too much. In the wacky but true files today, pot grower takes out power in neighborhood. A Michigan man accidentally knocked out power to his neighbors because he was putting too much of a strain on the power grid while growing medical marijuana. Yeah, sure, nudge, nudge, wink, wink, it's for medicinal use. And let's see here. Finally, Andy Samberg marries Joanna Newsom. And if I knew who these two were, it would mean more to me. Well, apparently they got married Saturday, days after his new comedy Brooklyn Nine-Nine premiered on Fox. Justin Timberlake and Jessica Biel were reportedly among the guests. Well, I have heard of those two, but I have no plans to watch Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I don't watch Fox that often anyway, news or otherwise. So, those are the things you need to know on this Monday. Now, how about some news headlines, USA? I did hear you say it, didn't I? Well, you're going to get them anyway.
Hello, Americans. This is Paul Harvey. Stand by for news.
And take a look at news headlines on this Monday morning. Most Kenya mall attack hostages freed. The majority of the hostages have been freed in an attack on the Westgate Mall in Nairobi, Kenya, that began Saturday. 3 of the attackers are believed to be from the United States, 2 from Somalia, and 1 each from Canada, Finland, Kenya, and the UK. All were Shabab militants. At least 68 people have been killed and 175 injured. A major assault by security forces was still underway in the early hours of Monday morning to take back control of the mall. 110 die in Mexican storms. 3 storms, including 2 tropical storms, struck Mexico in the past week, leaving 110 dead. 24 states have been affected by damage. Mudslides were responsible for at least 68 deaths, and storms washed out roadways. Construction